Hey everybody, welcome to the Reignite Your Radiance with Ayurveda Masterclass. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for making it. And this is masterclass number 2 of this week. So I taught this masterclass yesterday, and while my topic is the same, I did make a few changes to my script and to my notes. So if you're here watching it for a second time, you might learn something new. Let's see. And definitely going to be just a new presentation. So I'm so stoked that you're here. Today I'm going to teach you what I feel are the 3 pillars of fall nourishment that you want to have in your life to energize your body, reduce inflammation, recover your vitality, and discover a deeper connection with yourself. Because when we've got that deep connection with ourselves, that is what has to be there for us to be in touch with self-love and self-care and to put ourselves first. And if you were in my Detox Your Body with Ayurveda boot camp last week, which was amazing, we had over 1,700 people participate in that event, and it was a bunch of amazing human beings. But if you were in that boot camp, you'll remember from day 1 where I talked about the element of ether and creating the space that, no other element in nature can exist without ether. And ether is gas or space. And we started that boot camp with, why are you here? You've got to create the space for change to come, for transformation to happen. Because if you're here for this masterclass, I have to guess that you're here because you've got a good reason for being here. And I want to help you presence that as we jump into the content today. So, I'm so grateful for all of you who are here live. I'm grateful for you who is watching the replay. And I just want to invite you to, in the chat, tell me what your intention is for being here today, because your intention really does drive all of your choices. Like, I just joined this really awesome course myself, and my number one intention, and really my only intention for being there, is healing. And so anytime I'm getting triggered or confused or angry or, or even having a moment of joy and expansion, I am coming back to my intention that why I'm there is for healing. So I would love to hear why you are here in this masterclass. And I want to start the masterclass by talking about, okay, the name of the masterclass is Reignite Your Radiance with Ayurveda. So let's first talk about what radiance is according to Ayurveda. And this is something I thought about earlier today, so I didn't talk about this in yesterday's masterclass. So, when we talk about radiance in Ayurveda, there is a word for it, which is actually the word tejas, Tejas. And tejas, when we read pulse as Ayurvedic practitioners, there's one level of the pulse where we read the prana, which is the life force energy, the tejas, which is basically how, what's your capacity for radiance based on how toxic you are. It's kind of a rudimentary way to describe it, but for our purposes, I'll leave it there. And ojas. And ojas is something that I spoke about in our boot camp on day 4, when the topic was water and how do you feed your fluids and make sure that you're hydrated, and why hydration, lubrication, moisture is so incredibly important, not only because of the time and culture that we're in, which is chaotic and fast and scattered and always moving so quickly, but a lot of you are perimenopausal or menopausal or beyond menopause. And for any of you who fit in that category, you are either in or moving towards the driest time of life. But where you started when you were born is the wettest, most moist, lubricated, juiciest time of life, when you're the most durable and flexible, and you've got all those growth hormones, and you're just like, your skin is all baby skin, pretty much always looks radiant unless they've got a rash. And that abundance of, I'm going to call it vitality, when you're a baby, you're born with it. And I think that there's a misconception around aging where I definitely see, not as often, well, I'll say it this way. I definitely have women come to me for private work who are kind of resigned at first. They're like, well, I'm 63. Like, what else? I just thought this was normal. Or I'm 51. Like, I don't know, that feels, I know I'm not old, but I'm not young. And I guess I just thought that it's normal that every year I gain 5 to 10 pounds. And where Ayurveda comes in is like, Ayurveda is about longevity and about aging gracefully, in that, how healthy can you stay? How healthy can you remain for the duration of your life? And from that place, have plenty of energy and vitality for everything that matters to you. So there is an anti-aging component to Ayurveda, but I never really call it that because we can't anti-age. We can just embrace our aging process. But this, going back to that vitality that you're born with, you can cultivate that. And so in today's masterclass, I want to help you learn how you cultivate your radiance. And that's what I mean by reignite it. You already have it. It just might be covered up or stagnant or undercover, under inflammation, under your body trying to protect you from other pathogens or foreign invaders or patterns of inflammation and stagnation that you're trapped in at the moment. But that radiance is underneath, and that is your divinity, and that is your birthright. So we're going to work on getting back to that in today's masterclass, and that is really our goal for today. Okay, now let's talk about what radiance is not. Radiance is not exhaustion. It's not depletion. It's not reaction versus response. It's not inflammation. It's not digestive issues. It's not hormone imbalance. Some of this is going to be obvious to you. It's not weight gain. It's not feeling frustrated at the drop of a hat. It's not anxiety or depression. Now, I will say that I believe that radiance is having the capacity to feel your feelings without guilt or shame, and being able to own who you are in everything that you are. So with radiance doesn't mean that you're positive all the time. Radiance means that your cup is full, that you have enough to give to yourself first and foremost, and from time to time the cup runneth over and you've got plenty to give to others. In fact, most of the time you do when you are connected to your radiance. So we want to, radiance is also not memory problems, chronic pain, brain fog, feeling disconnected from your body, mind, and spirit. It's also not about having a perfect routine that you never stray from, and having your life look like some of the people that I see on Instagram. To be honest, I really got trapped on Monday. I was working on my own Instagram feed, and I ended up on this woman's site, and I was just like, am I really supposed to believe that this woman's life is this perfect? Like, I'm glad she's happy and I'm glad she's connected to gratitude, but it actually upset me in a certain sense, because I was like, I just feel like that's a really unfair representation of radiance when you're just like, look at my perfect body and I'm in my 20s and I have 3 kids and I look amazing and I live in a mansion and I'm really wealthy and I don't even know. I just was like, that to me isn't radiance. Radiance has a realness to it, which is it's okay to fall off the wagon and you get right back on. That's resilience. That's real life. That's authenticity. So that's what my definition of radiance is. And for those of you who are new to me, because some of you are not in my boot camp, hello, my name is Talya Lutzker. I am a certified Ayurvedic practitioner. I've been practicing Ayurveda for my own self since 2001. I was so inspired and blown away the by the profundity of healing that I experienced in the first year of practicing Ayurveda. And then it just exponentially just keeps growing, I swear to God. I was so inspired that I started studying Ayurveda, and I became an Ayurvedic practitioner in 2003 with my teacher, Deanna Batdorf, who runs the Dhyana Center in Sebastopol, California. She is absolutely brilliant. And I then stayed on for a year as her apprentice. And I became the first ever Ayurvedic chef at her Ayurvedic treatment center, where I wrote 2 cookbooks. A third one I wrote later in life. And I'm the founder of the Nourish Your Body with Ayurveda Bootcamp, the Detox Your Body with Ayurveda Bootcamp. That's the bootcamp we had last week. I founded the RAD Cleanse, which stands for the Radiance Ayurveda Detox. I'll be talking about that a little bit today. I'm the founder of Ayurveda Starter School, and I'm just so passionate about teaching this medicine because I am an advocate for people's awesomeness, including my own. And I created my business, Ayurveda Every Day with Talya, because I wanted to live my passion around healing. And really, this is still my passion. I think it will be my lifelong passion. And what modern healthcare tells us is healing through pharmaceutical drugs, and even for psychological issues, like, oh, just get on medication as the answer. Like, I'm not saying that there isn't a place for that, and I am grateful for Western medicine. Like, believe me, if I broke my pelvis, please take me to the hospital. Like, if I'm really, really in a catastrophic accident, knock on wood that never happens, I want to go to the hospital. I want to be put under surgery if I need to. But when I've got chronic migraines, when I've got an autoimmune disorder, when I've got chronic pain, when I have severe lung issues, when I have severe skin issues, when I have major hormone imbalances, I don't want to be directed by what Western medicine has to give me, because they're going to put me on drugs. They're going to make lots of money on me, and they're going to bring me further and further away from me or you being connected to your body in a deep, profound way, where you learn to listen to your symptoms in a way that is empowering and intuitive and really life-changing for you. So, that's what I'm all about. And I've seen Ayurveda help hundreds and thousands of people skyrocket their energy, heal their bodies, and it's just incredible. If you're new to Ayurveda, just FYI, it's India's holistic healthcare system, and it's rooted in the 5 elements, which I covered last week in my 5-day Detox Your Body with Ayurveda Bootcamp. Ether, air, fire, water. Ether, air, fire, water, and earth. And Danielle, if you don't mind, why don't you go ahead and put the link to the Detox Your Body with Ayurveda Bootcamp into the chat, so that if you haven't done the bootcamp yet, you can get that. We'll send you the links with everything. But we're keeping it open until Monday, October 7th. So there actually is plenty of time to still take the free bootcamp if you want to. And, whether you're new to Ayurveda, you're an Ayurvedic practitioner, an Ayurveda enthusiast, or you just want to feel better, welcome to this masterclass, and welcome to Ayurveda Every Day with Talya. So if you are here, I already said this a little bit, but I'll say it again. Chances are that you are not feeling your best, or that you could be feeling better, or you're curious about what actually is possible for me around my health and healing. So you want to know more, and that's a great reason to be here. And I'm just going to put some things out there, see if this resonates for you. Maybe you resonated with some of the things I said when I was talking about what radiance is not. Okay, maybe you have a bunch of weight that you've put on in the last year or 2 or 3 or 5, and you're like, WTF, I've never gained weight like this. It's so stubborn. I can't get it off. I can't shake it off. What's going on? Maybe you're here because you're an emotional eater and you're stuck in a trauma cycle around your relationship with food that you really want to break. Maybe you are addicted to certain foods, or you're having an allergic reaction to foods and you don't understand where it's coming from. Maybe you have inflammation that is, really driving you nuts. And maybe you have an autoimmune disorder. Maybe you have cancer. Maybe you are have mood issues where you're overwhelmed or anxious or depressed or moody and just like sick of it. So, no matter what reason you're here for, I'm so glad that you're here, because Ayurveda touches all of these imbalances. It helps with all of this. For some of the things that are more chronic and deeper set in the tissues, it just means you need to stick with Ayurveda for longer. Ayurveda is not a quick fix. And so this leads me to my next question, which I would love for you to answer in the comments, and tell me what's up for you. But, if you are here, so are you ready to make a change around your self-care and your health? So if the answer for that is yes, type yes in the chat, and I'll ask it one different way. Are you ready to make health and self-care a priority? Are you ready to make your health, your healing, and your self-care a priority? I really want to know if you do or not. And if you don't, if you're not, if you're like, no, I'm not ready, I want to know why. What is stopping you? I'm really genuinely curious. So type in the comments so I can check it out. And just so you know, at the very the presentation itself is going to be about an hour. And then at the end of the hour, the top of the hour, I'm going to go through the chat and answer all your questions. So feel free to just type questions into the chat from here on out. And I'll pay attention to them at the end. So I'm going to jump into the meat of our masterclass now and share with you the system of Ayurveda, which I've been using for 18 years to stay at my ideal body weight, which, I'm someone who comes from an eating disorder background. I grew up actually exposed to an insane amount of pornography. My dad just had no awareness and no boundaries of like, hey, you might not want your 5-year-old to be looking at Playboy and Penthouse. So why not, like, don't leave it on the counter. Don't leave it behind the Band-Aids. But I was exposed to that. And as a teenager, this is a little bit of a tangent, but bear with me. As a teenager, when boys started to have interest in me, I literally did everything I could to avoid their advances for years, because I was so terrified, because my only information about sex was Hustler magazine. And I'm telling you, that stuff is raunchy. So, of course I had an eating disorder. I thought I was supposed to look like a porn star, and I'm 5'1 3/4". I'm a Vata Kapha, so I've got curves. I'm not supposed to be skinny. So, being able to achieve an ideal body weight for myself has been huge for my confidence, for feeling good in my body, for my mood, for everything, for my digestion, my, reducing inflammation. Because when you're at your ideal body weight, it's not just about losing weight. It's not just about looking good. It's the, when you're at your ideal body weight, your tissues and your organs have more space and they communicate with each other better, and you flow better when you're at your ideal body weight. So I've healed my body from basically every single thing I encounter using Ayurveda, and yoga is the sister science. So when I talk about Ayurveda and when I teach Ayurveda, yoga is absolutely a part of that. I've been a yoga teacher since 2001 and a yoga student since 1993. And I've decreased so much inflammation. When I found Ayurveda, or the way I found Ayurveda, and I'll get into this a little bit more later in the masterclass, is I broke out in psoriasis all over my body at my yoga teacher training in 2001 and was just like, Again, WTF. It was so scary. It was so dramatic, and it was so violent. If you have an autoimmune disease, which is your immune system attacking itself, then you'll be able to relate to me, I believe, about that there's a violence to autoimmune disorders, especially when inflammation is the primary symptom, whether that's a rash in your skin, rheumatoid arthritis, pain in your joints, chronic migraines, whatever it is. But it was so shocking and so scary. So I knew at that point in time, I did know that Western medicine had a belief around autoimmune disorders of the skin, and autoimmune disorders in general, that you go to a Western doctor and they're like, oh, that's too bad. We don't know what causes it. We don't have a cure. So, we can't help you with anything except for here's some medication that you can put on it. And then here's what they don't tell you is, oh, and by the way, this medication will be absorbed by your body in such a way that it will contribute ultimately to the inflammation that is at the root cause of what's ailing you. But we're going to pretend like we don't know that, or we're going to be so ignorant that we don't know that and tell you that we don't know what we can do for you. Okay, so this is also, you can hang up right now if you don't like what I'm saying, because this is my core belief, and one of the reasons why I'm always looking to spread the word about Ayurveda, and why I've taken my business online. Not the only reason, but a huge reason, because when we're not empowered around our health, then we're just plain not empowered. And I think that that's one of the biggest disservices that has been, I don't even know, like, done to our society. I mean, I don't even know, like, we created society, so I don't know how it happened exactly, but it's just wrong. It's right up there with like Black voter suppression and women, the mistreatment of women, in my opinion, that we don't know how our bodies work, that we're not taught how to care for our bodies, even when we're taught about our bodies. Like maybe you took a physiology class in college like I did, or you took nutrition classes. They'll teach you about the body, but nobody teaches you how to care for it. Ayurveda does, and this is what makes Ayurveda so unique. So today I'm going to talk to you about the 3 pillars that creates lasting change and transformation. So are you ready? You ready? If you are, type yes in the comments. If you're not ready, you can type no if you want, but I won't see it for a little while. You can tell me why you're not ready. Okay, so here's my system. Okay, it's 3 parts. So part number 1, thank you to everybody who's typing in the chat. Love it, love it, love it. So my system number 1, we need to, and this is specific for fall, okay, for the season that we're in the Western Hemisphere. We need to reduce excess vata in the body, mind, organs, and tissues. Now, again, if you took my boot camp last week, I talked about vata a lot on day 1 and day 2, because, and for those of you new to Ayurveda, kind of the language of Ayurveda, like especially when you're first getting into it, everything is about the doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha. At this point, most people have heard of those terms. So those doshas, there's 3 doshas, 5 elements. So those 5 elements of nature, ether, air, fire, water, earth, they get broken down, or actually organized into these 3 categories, vata, pitta, and kapha. So each dosha is a representative of 2 of the elements of nature. Vata is the dosha that represents air and ether. Now, I already told you ether is about space and gas. It's atmospheric, it's esoteric, it's everywhere present, but it's very subtle. We're not always aware of ether. In fact, most of the time, we're absolutely not aware of it. But as you become more self-aware, and as you become more emotionally intelligent, spiritually intelligent, you become more aware of energy, and that's an awareness of ether. Now, air is a little more literal. Air comes into the space that ether creates and it creates wind, it creates movement, it creates change. Now we are in a vata imbalanced society because anything that has to do with cold, lightness, dryness, too much like things being thin. For example, I mean, it could be a person's body, right? They're like someone who's anorexic. They're too thin. It's not healthy. But when I say thin, if for the sake of this conversation, think about this. Like if you're, when you've had a long day, maybe you were, stressed out by your kids, or you had a long day at work, or you had a fight with someone that you care about, and now you're in traffic and somebody cuts you off. And, and maybe you're even listening to like beautiful mantra music and you're taking deep breaths. And you're like, I hate being in traffic, but I'm like breathing and doing things. Someone cuts you off and suddenly you're just like, oh my God, motherfucker. Ah! And you're like, oh my God. I love to say WTF, so I'll just keep saying it. WTF, what the heck is wrong with me? Like the veil between you, your energy body, and the rest of the world is so thin that you are just like, you're basically running on empty. And so you're just going to be so quick to anger, so quick to frustration. That's what I mean by thin when I'm talking in this conversation right now. So we live in a vata culture. We've got too much going on, way too much information, too much overwhelm, too much travel, too much scheduling, too much, how many places do you need to check messages to make sure that you got back to everybody? I have no less than 8. I mean, that's insanity. So we already have that in our culture. Now we are in the vata time of year, which is fall, coldest, lightest, driest season of the year. A lot of us, like I said, are in the vata time of life or moving towards it. Coldest, lightest, driest time of life. And if you have any stress in your life, if you have a sensitivity to cold, if you have a sensitivity to dry, if you've been running on empty because you're burning the candle at both ends, you are running an excess of the vata dosha and it is hurting you. Now, there's a few different ways that vata shows up, like when we notice it as a symptom. Now, the obvious ones are if you open any Ayurvedic cookbook or textbook or look online about vata, you'll see, okay, there's all the vata symptoms: constipation, dry skin, brittle nails, brittle bones, like osteoporosis is very common for vata predominant people to develop. So, part of why I'm such an advocate of Ayurveda is like prevent. The more that you prevent these inevitable downsides of the doshas, even though they still might happen to you, you'll be stronger if they do, and you'll be able to nip them in the bud faster and more effectively and with more power and strength. So anyway, I go off on a tangent. But okay, so there's the regular vata imbalance that we can see when we've got too much vata going. But what we don't see is that if you, for example, related to what I said about being overweight, and that it's kind of been creeping up on you, like every year you gain 5 or 10 pounds, it's mostly around your middle or your hips, and it's stubborn, and it's like, what is this? I'm not overeating, I'm exercising, I feel like I'm doing everything right, but I'm still gaining weight. This especially happens to people in midlife, men and women. Well, the undercurrent of that weight gain, now weight gain looks like, smells like, feels like kapha, which is earth and water. It feels heavy, feels like extra, but that doesn't mean that that's the root cause. And for so many of us, just having vata excess in our body, mind, spirit life is causing that imbalance. So vata can actually be the root cause of inexplicable weight gain, especially what I call adrenal weight, when you're running on empty and you gain weight. I've seen this happen firsthand in my own body, see it in so many of my clients. This is really a huge theme that I see amongst our culture. So that's going on. And then another thing is there's something in Ayurveda called pushes and blocks, where the doshas, these are forces of energy. These are elements of nature. So we can categorize them all we want, but really these are forces of nature that are always at play in your body, mind, spirit. And Vata can push Pitta. And so what that means is, imagine this analogy, okay? You're smoking a cigarette, hopefully not, but let's just say that you did, or you at least have a lit cigarette. You're in the middle of the forest and you drop it on the forest floor. It's just an ember, it's just a tiny little bit of fire, no big deal. But then a big wind comes through and it catches that ember, and now there is a forest fire. That fire was nothing without wind, but when the wind came in, now it's a raging fire. That's the same way that fire can suddenly rage in your body. And fire is the most destructive element in the body, the same way that it is in nature. Fire rises in the body the same way that it rises in a house. So for those of you who've got chronic headaches, chronic migraines, pressure in the mind, high blood pressure, I mean, there's so many different ways that this fire can manifest, but what do you know? Sometimes it's not fire at the root. Sometimes it's Vata at the root. So reducing Vata is my number one remedy for reigniting your radiance, honestly, any time of year, but it's most crucial at this time of year because this is the Vata time of year. It's most crucial when you're in the Vata time of life or heading towards the Vata time of life. It's most crucial when you have Vata imbalances, which could be any of the things that I've described when I talked about what radiance isn't, as well as all the symptoms that I just spoke about. You know, even like somebody was asking in our Facebook group, Ayurveda Every Day with Talya, about tinnitus, which is like this kind of chronic ringing in the ears. And, you know, that's a complex thing. It's not cut and dry in Ayurveda, which is why I refused. Oh, actually, it was in our masterclass yesterday that she asked it. And that's why I did not answer her about what to do for it. Because I'm like, you know what, that's a question where I need to know more about my client before I start giving recommendations and advice. But, you know, tinnitus, like that sort of hollow ringing, like this echo that's constantly going on, or dizziness, vertigo. You know, there's a lot of things that we can trace back to, like, wow, that's a lot of wind running for that person. Vata being reduced is the answer to that person getting back into balance, to finding her radiance again. So here's the great mantra for releasing the Vata dosha. And when those of you who are here when the masterclass began, we had so many technical difficulties today in our company. I don't know why, just what's going on. I also had a session today with my therapist, and even my session was about, like, well, what do you not have control over? And there's a particular situation that's really been on my mind that I'm like, yeah, I've got to pick apart, like, what can I not control here? Because most of it I can't control. So what I can do is I can start to let go of what I can't control. And this is so helpful when you are running a lot of Vata, because a lot of that is just stress and being like kind of caught in the wind, like being blown away by the wind of it all, and being like, but I have to, but I can't. And it's like, no, yes, you can. Yes, you can change your mind. You can break patterns. You can take yourself out of vicious cycles that aren't serving you, but you've got to learn how to let go. So that's one of your great Vata reducing mantras. And then another just really quick win. I want to give you a quick win. In fact, I'm just going to show you something here. I made this for you to show you where we're going in our masterclass today. So we started with what is radiance. Here we are. You're getting your quick win. We're going to go faster for the rest of this. I'm going to talk about here we are, reducing Vata, same path. We're going to talk about what it means to commit to healing, and we're going to talk about how to work with me. And one thing I forgot to say yesterday and today is I do have a free gift for those of you who stay until the end of this masterclass. I'm telling you a little bit too late now, but stay till the end to get the free gift. You only get it if you stay till the end. I'm not telling you about it until the very end, but it's so awesome. It's so worth it. That the free gift is going to help you reduce Vata as well. But a really quick win for you, in addition to the mantra of letting go, or, you know, just kind of taking a moment to be like, okay, what am I not in control of? What can I let go of? is drinking hot water all day long. It's even if you run hot, even if you're pitta predominant, even if you live in a hot climate, when you drink hot water, it is like a balm for the digestive system. It is like a soothing rain for your nervous system. It just helps relax the whole body. So drinking hot or warm water throughout the day is such an incredibly powerful vata reducing practice that's so underrated. So, please, 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 never again, hand on your heart, never order ice water when you go out to a restaurant. Order warm water or hot water. And you can always ask them, like, oh, can I have some lemon? It's usually free. And that will do wonders for reducing the vata dosha. So especially if you're on a first date and you're nervous, you need to calm your nervous system, order some hot water. You can have it alongside of your mojito, which is the cleanest cocktail that you could possibly order, especially if the barb has maple syrup instead of sugar. Okay, that was a total tangent, but fun to know. Vodka is the cleanest liquor according to Ayurveda. It's clear, you can see right through it. And mint cools down the acidity of the alcohol. So there you go, mojitos made with maple syrup is ideal. All right, so pillar number 2. Every time I lead a masterclass, I really think about, like, what are my pillars right now? Like, what's resonating for me? So you maybe have taken a masterclass with me before where I talked about way different things. They're all true, but this is what I want to share now. So number 2 pillar of how to really nourish yourself this fall, and it connects back to, again, creating the space. You matter, but you have to start showing up differently in your life if what you really want is to feel better and to heal and to have more energy and to put yourself first, because that's what's required for you to get your energy and vitality back, for you to reduce inflammation. You've got to make yourself numero uno, the head cheese, the big honcho, whatever. You've got to do that. And nobody else is going to do that for you, especially if you're a mom or a spouse or a sister or a friend who a lot of people depend on. You're just not, they're not going to do that for you because they want you. They want your attention. So it's up to you to give yourself the attention that your body really needs you to give it. And this kind of goes with my 3rd pillar, but I'm going to say more about this before I get quite there. And what I want to say is that I see this happen all the time where somebody will sign up to work with me privately and, we'll be like, okay, we're going to work together for the next 3 months. Okay, yes, high five. We're so excited. And then, a few weeks into it, they're like, no, I don't know. I'm not doing it. I don't know if this was the right decision. It's like life always happens. Life always is getting in the way. It's so easy to go back to our comfort zone. Doing things differently, showing up differently is having a willingness to be like, okay, I'm uncomfortable, but my intention, right? You come back to your intention, like my intention is healing. So I'm going to say that my discomfort is worth what I'm really after here, what my goal is here. And then you just are collecting these wonderful tools when you're using Ayurveda to reignite your radiance that really support you in getting out of your comfort zone, but into this new way of being that has you feel better than you've ever felt before in your whole life. So, my point here is, don't let unforeseen circumstances, don't let time and money and all of the easy life excuses get in the way of you putting yourself first. Like the vata dosha, because this is all connected, all 3 of these pillars, the vata dosha is very sensitive. And it really needs an anchor. It needs to be grounded. It needs space. So it's not only comprised of space and air, it needs space. It needs space to be itself. It needs space to feel its feelings. It needs space to be honest. And so you need to give that to yourself and start showing up for yourself differently, because I don't think any of us are doing that as much as we could. If you already are, fucking high five, you rock. And I think the other reason why this is a pillar for me that I'm sharing today is because, you know, I'll just be honest with you, right? Like, because I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner and I'm trying to get the word out about Ayurveda and I want people to listen. You know, when I put something out there on Facebook or Instagram or email, I'm always talking about, you know, have more energy, increase your vitality. You can feel so much better than you do, right? Like, I need to tell people, like, this actually is possible. There really is hope. I know that you can feel better. I know Ayurveda can get you there. And I always start with that, right? Like, because if I started with like, well, this is going to take time and it might be hard and you might feel uncomfortable, no one's going to listen to me. But I'm being honest, like, healing is not this lightning bolt of like, oh no, I'm healed all of a sudden. I mean, there is a tipping point where that does happen. I'll share a story with you in just one second. But for, you know, you've still got to walk the path. You've still got to do the work. You've still got to learn the things you need to learn to get you where you want to go, right? To your goal, to your intention. So I want to share a really quick story with you, right? I was diagnosed with psoriasis right after that yoga teacher training in 2001. Broke out, was all over my body, my face, my breasts, my armpits, my groins, my inner thighs, my belly. It was so awful. I had an itchy anus like you wouldn't believe. It was insane and super scary. I was, and when I was diagnosed with autoimmune, I read up about it and was like, oh shit. Like, psoriasis is connected to psoriatic arthritis, to psoriatic migraines. Like, the inflammation that causes psoriasis can cause things that are way worse than a skin rash. And so I took it very seriously. I was 28 years old. I was like, I got to take this seriously because I want to live a good life. And this does not sound like a good life to me, to be suffering with this. So that's what got me on the path of seeking healing and seeking alternative healthcare, which I had never sought before, really. I mean, I was into yoga and stuff, but I didn't know I could feel better because I was 10 to 15 pounds overweight for all of my 20s. I didn't know I should be getting my period every month, that having an irregular period where maybe I got it 3 times a year was a hormone imbalance. I didn't know that. So I didn't even know. But I found Ayurveda within 6 months of practicing the principles that I teach my students in my courses and in my private work. Within 6 months of practicing the principles of Ayurveda, it's actually the exact stuff that I teach in the RAD Cleanse. 85% of my skin was healed. Within a year of practicing the principles, I felt so fucking amazing. I was on top of the world. And that's what was so inspiring to me. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Now, my dad died after that year when I was on top of the world. So he died actually, like, I don't know, 2 months after that. And I went into a deep state of grief. My dad, I could talk about that for a million years, but my dad was my person in my family unit. He was my person. He was the one who I had a connection to. And his death absolutely devastated me. And I had never experienced grief like that before or since. Sorry, I cried yesterday. Now here I am crying again. I'm an emotional person. It's okay. So the grief in Ayurveda, grief it lives in the lungs. And guess what? Guess what skin relates back to? Lungs, blood, liver, digestive system. And so some of the psoriasis came back, and it was incredibly stubborn. And, I feel like, okay, this is my path, is to learn about this, what this skin rash means to me, what autoimmune means to me, what's going on that that I have this inflammation. It was, I'm like, okay, I'm here to learn. I'm here to grow. I'm here to heal. Like, show me the way, And so I stuck with Ayurveda, even though I had moments of such despair and such disappointment and such frustration that of course I wanted to give up. However, I didn't. And for me, there literally was a tipping point. It was a year ago, almost a year ago today, that one morning I woke up and I was like, I haven't been itchy for like a week. And I looked, because the psoriasis for me, where it lasted was in my armpits and my inner groins. Hello, grew up looking at pornography around my sexual organs. That's no mystery anymore. Part of a big puzzle of mystery. But I was like, oh, and then I was like, I don't have a rash. Like, I had not had a rash for 17 years. So, and I haven't had a rash since that day that I was like, hey, like, and when I thought about it, and I told my teacher, my practitioner, and here I'm getting emotional again. It was just like, yes, persistence. Yeah, yes, staying the course that feels true, even when I can't see the evidence that it's working. So there is a tipping point. I hope for all of you, it doesn't take you 17 years, but I don't regret a single day of my practice of healing and using Ayurveda to heal, because Ayurveda only has positive side effects. So even though my skin wasn't clearing up, my digestion has been absolutely phenomenal for years. I reduced inflammation in so many other areas of my body. Like I said, I've been at my ideal weight for 18 years. I can wear the same clothes that I wore in high school. I still fit into them, well, except for one prom dress. I don't know what the deal is with that. I get my period every month, and I have for years and years and years, like no more hormone imbalance, even though of course I have like a full range of emotions. I'm as human as they come. Like, I can generate so much energy and vitality. This is what is possible for you. So, anyway, I'm going to keep going with my pillars. I could just go on and on. If you're getting anything out of my stories, please put it in the comments. I hope you are resonating with what I'm telling you. I'm not talking about it just to talk about myself. I'm talking about myself to demonstrate, what's possible when you practice Ayurveda as a long-term thing, and that, how this ties back to the pillar of you have to start showing up differently. I showed up differently to be this persistent. I didn't give up, and that wasn't how I was before I found this medicine. So pillar number 3 is only self-awareness can heal you. So pillar number 3 is only self-awareness can heal you. And here's what I want to explain about this pillar is, if you look at Ayurveda as a whole medicine, as a whole system, and you say, okay, I'm here, I want to practice Ayurveda. What do I do first? Like, what's the first step in being an Ayurvedic practitioner, meaning a person who's practicing the medicine? Number 1, always, 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 anywhere you look in Ayurvedic texts, it is always about, how do you feel and what do you need? How do you feel? What do you need? How do you feel? What do you need? You can't ask those questions if you're not self-aware. Self-awareness is number 1. Again, if you took my boot camp last week, on day 3, it was about awakening your metabolism. And the mantra for that day was, in this moment, what do I need? And it's such a great mantra for life. And it's such a great mantra for learning how to interpret and listen to the symptoms that your body's giving you, because your body is always communicating with you. There is never a moment that your body's not communicating with you. And somebody asked me a really interesting question in the boot camp, I believe. She was like, Talya, what does balance look like? Like, what does balance feel like? Where, in Ayurveda, we're always talking about balance. And my answer to her was, okay, like, balance is you have energy. Balance is you feel good. You feel good about in your body, or maybe you feel good about yourself. But that's kind of a bonus. You definitely feel good in your body. You have a radiance about you. your digestion is working. You're pooping, you feel like you feel your hunger, you eat, and you have good elimination. This is what balance is. And to get there, you've got to learn how to listen to your body and respond to your body. And I've never seen a system, not even Chinese medicine, that does this better than Ayurveda. Because in Chinese medicine, it's still like, I mean, this is just my experience, and I have so many great Chinese medical practitioners in my life, like Willow Brown, if any of you have heard of her. She's so amazing. She's my neighbor and one of my good friends. She's coming over later. But even with her, it's like, I feel like I always need to be like, can you read my pulse again? Or like, I don't know all these herbs. I don't know all these acupressure points. I need to always be kind of reminded and guided, where Ayurveda is like, if you listen and just listen for, are you hot? Are you cold? Are you wet? Are you dry? Do you feel super light and dizzy? Do you feel heavy and lethargic? Just those basic self-awarenesses can lead you to a remedy that changes everything. Like, oh my God, I'm so cold today. Oh, drink some hot water. Oh my God, that made me feel so much better. So it's just these little incremental shifts and changes that add up to huge change and transformation at the end of the day. And one thing I want to share too is, I think a lot of us have been taught to ignore our symptoms. Because we were taught, like, well, you just take that to your doctor. Like, you just ask the doctor and they'll tell you. But like I shared earlier, the Western medical system has failed us. They don't want you to know how you feel, really, because they just want to put a Band-Aid on it, and they just want you to be on medication because that's how they make money. That's how that whole system is wired. And again, there's a place for it, but for what I'm sharing and what I'm talking about, I just don't feel that it's fair. And I feel like it's not our fault. It's not your fault that our society has not set us up to be empowered around our health. And therefore, it really is now your responsibility, just like it's mine, to figure out, like, okay, it's up to me, it's up to you to figure out, what do I really need to feel good? What do I need right now? How do I feel? To ask these questions and to immerse yourself in some kind of learning or understanding, for example, Ayurveda, that gives you really good, clear, straightforward, common sense answers that help you get to your goal, your intention of feeling good. Ayurveda teaches us how to listen, observe, understand, inquire, and respond with intelligence. It awakens your internal guidance system, which I sometimes call your inner compass or your intuition, and leads you back to radiance. So it's, in my opinion, this is really about how learning how Ayurveda works, learning the tools and skill sets that you need to be empowered around your symptoms, to know how to soothe and balance your body. And as you do, you become a master of your own health and self-care. And as a result of that, your vibration shifts, your energy gets better, you're happier, you digest better, the veil between you and the rest of the world is less thin because your cup is full, you're nourished. So I use the word nourished so much in my work. To me, it's the ultimate expression of radiance, is when we are deeply nourished. And that's an individual thing. What's nourishing for me is not exactly the same as what's nourishing for you. So again, Ayurveda is brilliant because it steps in. It's like, yeah, we know that. And so we're going to make sure that we help you interpret your world, your body, mind, spirit, so that you figure out what's nourishing to you. So, this is really why I created the RAD Cleanse, my Radiance Ayurveda Detox, because these are the things that we put into practice every single day for, in this beautiful community-based container that is so educational, so inspiring, so supportive, so empowering. And it's a step-by-step system that helps you, get your vibrance back and reclaim your vitality and reignite your radiance. So I know that some people, when they hear me talk about, okay, the RAD cleanse, especially if you're new to Ayurveda, the word cleanse might right away be like a turnoff, because when you think cleanse, you might be like, ugh, like deprivation and feeling hungry. And I want to assure you that the RAD cleanse is not at all that. It is a food-based cleanse. It is my most comprehensive course about nourishment and Ayurvedic nutrition. I go so deep in this course. It's really beyond a cleanse. And I think this is why so many of my students and my clients come back to repeat the RAD cleanse season after season, because the RAD cleanse is season specific. So for example, we're in the Vata season. The RAD cleanse that is starting on Monday, October 7th, next week, is about reducing the Vata dosha. It's about how do we eat? How do we self-care when Vata is the predominating dosha of the season? Now, you don't need to be Vata predominant in your body, mind, spirit to take the fall cleanse, because we all need to know how to reduce Vata. We're all in the same boat when we're in the Vata season, but Vata imbalance can come up for anybody. And it does come up for everybody when you're in the Vata time of life, when you're in the Vata season. So every season that I lead the RAD cleanse, it's a different seasonal eating program and a different self-care awareness program. Now that being said, the cleanse part is where we are working to purify the body. We are increasing what's called Agni in Ayurveda, which is your digestive fire. We are clarifying your digestive fire so that it burns bright, clean, and clear. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. Which, when that happens, then the body starts to naturally remove remove ama from your body, which is toxic waste accumulation. You cannot get away from accumulating ama, because we just process so much on the everyday. Even if you have a really good diet, I question that. I thought I ate so well when I was in my 20s. Like literally my coworkers would gather around me at lunch to watch what I was eating. But I was eating raw carrots, raw broccoli, flour tortillas, dried hummus from the bulk bin. Everything I ate was cold and dry. Well, guess what? I'm cold and dry. So it's no wonder that I was always 15 pounds overweight and couldn't figure out why I couldn't get rid of it. I didn't know anything about any of the science that we are so blessed to have access to now. So, even if you think you have a healthy diet, the likelihood that you have a lot of ama stored, especially if you have any symptoms, it's not only high, it's just how it is. So we clarify Agni, we reduce ama, we get rid of ama, and then what happens is our radiance is reignited, because what gets created when you've got healthy Agni, healthy ama moving out of your body is you've got vitality restored, ojas, what we call vital fluids in Ayurveda, and that is really the source of your radiance, energy, vitality. It's how you move toxins out of your body when that river of life is flowing and healthy, and that's what we learn how to do in the RAD cleanse. So let me give you a really quick example of a day in the RAD cleanse, and I am aware of the time. We're almost to the end of the presentation, and then I'm going to take questions. But a day in the life is where you wake up, you make this amazing, nourishing, wonderfully satisfying morning drink. You can take it with you, or you sip on it in the morning hours while after your meditation or whatever. Then you are eating, you wait for your next time that you feel hungry. You have this amazing Ayurveda infused breakfast at whatever time of day works for you. So we play with intermittent fasting. We talk about who it's for, who it's not for, when it's appropriate, when you need to really trust your hunger, which is always, spoiler alert, then you hydrate some more with other hydrating drinks that are just so incredibly helpful for fine-tuning the RAD cleanse specifically for you and for your unique constitution. Then when you're hungry again, you have another amazing meal. And that's basically how it goes. And all the while, you're learning all of these really cool daily mantras and daily practices that enhance your experience of, feeling so good that after day 4 or 5, you're just like, oh my God, I didn't even know I could feel this way again. I mean, those are the kinds of things I hear people say in the cleanse. Now, for not every single person gets there after 4 or 5 days. For some people, it's after day 7 or day 10. So that's why inside of this course, there is a 14-day RAD cleanse. So we actually spend the first couple modules, it's a 5-module course. The first couple modules are about getting ready for that actual detox. Then the detox itself is 14 days, but you can do it for 7 days if that's what you want to do. You don't have to do it for 14. Just after 10 years of leading this course in various iterations, it just felt to me like most of my students were getting the best results when they stayed with it for 14 days. They started feeling amazing at 7, and then it was just easy to keep it going for another 7. And they were like, oh my God, that was so epic. And then we take a few days in module 5 to come out of the cleanse safely and carefully so that we're being really mindful as we move back into real life. But what I love about the RAD cleanse is it's really a lifestyle, even more than a cleanse. And so it's giving you all these tools and resources that you get to take with you long term. So, here's a question for you, like, why do it all by yourself when you could be guided by somebody who has lived this medicine, who has seen unbelievable results through this medicine? I wouldn't share it if I didn't. And who I've led hundreds of other students to feel better than they've ever felt. Why would you keep trying to do it on your own and get mediocre results when you could get stupendous results through a community-based course that is affordable, that gives you fast results, that is time-tested, that has been tested again and again with all kinds of students and clients, that lets you, gives you tons of new recipes and just supports you in every possible way. So I would love, I invite you to join the RAD cleanse, and I have a special invitation for you today. So when I, teach these master classes right before I have a course, I think about like, okay, what else could I add for your education, for your enrichment that would amplify what I'm already offering you as like an amazing, amazing product, okay? So I come up with these different bonuses. And the bonus for you, if you sign up today before midnight Pacific Standard Time, today is Wednesday, October 3rd. So if you're watching the replay, sign up anyway. You'll have a different bonus, but if you email me, I'll give you this one too. But I created this bonus called 7 Simple Swaps. And I had the best time creating this document. I literally thought about what people were telling me were their most common cravings and difficulties and roadblocks around food and nourishment. And then I did all this research on, okay, so if somebody's craving that, what are all the possible reasons for why you would be craving that? What are all the possible reasons for why you might be addicted to something or allergic to something? What's missing in your diet or your self-care that you could put in to alleviate the pain around that craving? That's what that is. It's 7 simple swaps. And so it's 7 different, I'm holding up 10 fingers. It's 7 different, categories, and I go into great detail. It's such a rad document. It's valued at $150 because it really could be a little book that I self-publish and make hundreds of dollars on, so thousands of dollars on. So that's your bonus if you sign up by midnight. Plus, you're going to get $100 off the RAD cleanse using the code I am RAD100. So Danielle, if the RAD cleanse is not yet, the link is not yet in the chat, please put it in the chat because I'm not looking at the chat quite yet. You also get a masterclass taught by myself and my dear friend, Mary Sheila Ganella, who's one of the most brilliant Ayurvedic nutritionists that I've ever met. We're going to teach a class on reducing vata specifically as it pertains to the nervous system and resetting nervous system, how that relates back to your hormones, specifically your adrenals and your thyroid. So you get that as a bonus. You get a Facebook group where all your questions are answered. You get live Q&A calls with me for the first 4 weeks of the course. Sometimes I add some bonus ones depending on the group. I almost always do. You know, the course itself, it's designed to be a 30-day course, meaning you can finish everything that's in it within 30 days. Some of you could even do it in 21 days. But you have access to the course for 90 full days. So for the entire duration of the fall season, plus a few days after that. So it supports you as you transition into winter as well. So Danielle put in the chat the link that you can take. It will take you to what we call the sales page, where you can learn everything about the RAD cleanse. You can see all the testimonials. You'll see that coupon code again to give you $100 off. And I'm going to stick around for another 20 minutes or so taking questions. So let me open up the chat and let's see what you all have to say. All right. Jean is here to deal with pain and depression. Shayna's named my sister. Rebecca Z, getting rid of perimenopausal symptoms, cancer, COPD, absolutely. Wanting to make peace with the Vata season. So great. Look at all these beautiful yeses. Ooh, maybe there's a man here today, which is unusual. I usually have all women or mostly women. Dealing currently with dry skin, mild acne, off and on anxiety and or depression and confidence. Let's see, looking for questions. What is the spiritual and emotional support for healing in conjunction with Ayurveda? Is this under the umbrella of yoga? Well, I actually think that, oh, sorry. Please, yes, Danielle is also going to put a link into the chat for your bonus for sticking to the end, because the masterclass is officially over. Now I'm just taking questions. So your bonus for staying until the very end is this beautiful digestive massage meditation that I recorded. And I even put some beautiful music in the background. It's about 12 minutes long. You do it laying down. So it's something that you can do when you wake up in the morning or before you go to bed at night. And if you were in my boot camp and you got the really awesome meditation from day one, you know, you could even do it after that meditation from the boot camp. And Danielle, if you haven't already, go ahead and put the link to the boot camp, since it is still open and accessible until Monday the 7th. Just if any of you who are on the masterclass that missed the boot camp, I want you to know that you can still join. You know, it won't be live, but you could still get all of the cool materials. There's like so much goodness in it. But you could also share it with friends and family. If you're watching this and you're like, oh my God, my mom needs this so bad, or wow, I wish my sister was here. You know, you can share the boot camp with them. Then they'll be on my email list and they'll know about the RAD cleanse. And spoiler alert, I am going to do another masterclass later this week. So, you know, there's more to come. But so Shayna is asking, what is the spiritual and emotional support for healing? The spiritual support is, I guess it's hard for me to explain what it is. I feel like it's around the self-connection and the self-care and the self-love that is inherent in a lot of the practices, including just being present with your food, including, you know, preparing your food with mindfulness. Like, I think that it's present in this really powerful, esoteric, like kind of way that, like I talked about with the ether element, like we don't see it, but it's there. So there's that. And then for me personally, this is how I am as a practitioner, and why I love to work with my clients one-on-one, and why I love, love, love to lead group programs. Like this is really my, you know, I've committed my life to this. Like I love doing this so much, is I, as a practitioner, provide spiritual and emotional support for my students and my clients. And Ayurveda, if you've ever seen this, I did this other master class, I forget what it's called now, they're all something similar, but in that master class I was talking about how, you know, Ayurveda and yoga too, historically it was not practiced as like, it was never something that you just did on your own. I'm not saying that you didn't go home and do your own practice. Like your teacher would give you homework, you would have a spiritual physical practice to do when you were by yourself. We all need to have that skill and that discipline to heal. But you would be in relationship with a teacher who's seeing you from the outside in. We're not supposed to be our own practitioners. We're not supposed to be our own doctors. That is separate from cultivating self-awareness, from asking ourselves the question, what do I need? What do I need? What do I need? Because sometimes what you need is you need help, and you need extra support, and you need somebody outside of you to mirror back to you or to validate you for where you're at and to help guide you. So I think that the spiritual and emotional support really does come primarily from, or in conjunction with, your teacher, which is why it's always so important to have a teacher that you love, trust, and resonate with. I hope I am that teacher for you, but if I'm not, it's my job to not take that personally and to just understand that not everybody's chemistry works, and I'm not for everybody. I already know that. Hello. But that plus the actual discipline and practice. What a great question. Thank you for that beautiful question. Tara is asking, hi Tara, my digestion was non-existent until I found Ayurveda. Me too. She had to go, but she just wanted to share that. Marty Foster is here. Oh my God, I love her. She's an amazing yoga teacher in the Bay Area. I'm not sure if she's still in the Bay Area, but if she is, find her. She is such a brilliant yoga teacher. And then that looks like that's it. We don't have any other questions that I can see. So before we jump off, or before you jump off the call, sign up for the RAD Cleanse and get your bonus. You're only going to get that bonus if you sign up by tonight at midnight Pacific time. So it is a limited time offer to get all of the goodness I spoke about. I really hope you join. It's such an incredible, such an incredible course. Thank you so much. Yay. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Erica. And definitely claim your free digestive massage meditation. All you've got to do is click on the link that Danielle provided in the chat, and you'll have access to that. You'll be able to download that, put it on iTunes, put it on your phone, whatever you want. Now, if you're watching this on the replay, today's masterclass was not delivered through the system that it was meant to be delivered from. So, we'll figure out where to give you the important links that you might be looking for, like the, the meditation. We might actually ask you to email us. I'm not sure how we'll handle that. We'll probably just give it to you. The fall cleanse, know that the coupon code is all over the page that we direct you to for checking out the RAD cleanse. So you don't need to remember it, but it is I am RAD 100, all capital letters. And yeah, thank you, Leslie. Thank you so much for being here. I super appreciate you. I hope you got a ton out of this masterclass, even if you don't decide to join the RAD cleanse. And there's so much more to come. So stay in touch, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.